Hi everyone, welcome to my channel. I'm Yasmeen. I want to start this video by asking you to please subscribe to my channel if you do like my videos or if you follow me on any other platform. I know I always forget to subscribe to my favorite YouTubers and it takes me a few times to be reminded to do it. But if you do like my content and you do follow me on other platforms, please follow me on YouTube as well. So moving on, today's video is actually about a very random and interesting topic. It's like a story time about a time that I worked at Aritzia. If you've been following me for a while, you know I absolutely am obsessed with Aritzia. I buy most of my clothes there, not all, but most. I just love the vibe. I love the music they play. I love the clothes they sell, the fashion. Like the whole brand is like me. Like I'm just obsessed with it. I have been shopping there since I was, I think, in grade 7 or 8. It was around that time that the TNA pants were released. And they opened their first shop in Canada. I mean, in Ontario. And it was in Yorkdale Mall, I believe. I think it was in Yorktown Mall, but that was one of their first shops in Ontario, and I absolutely was obsessed. So I've been shopping there since I was a young girl, but I actually worked there for a very brief amount of time. I worked at Aritzia when I was 17 or 18, and it was for just 3 months. And this video is also about how I got fired from Aritzia. So I not only worked there, I got fired from there, and I still am and was a huge supporter and customer of the brand afterwards, even though I'll be honest, like Aritzia did me dirty. Like they did me pretty dirty. Disclaimer, I'm not trying to hate on Aritzia. I'm not trying to make anyone, go and say anything bad about Aritzia, but this is just my experience that I had when I worked there as a teenage girl. And yeah, I'm just gonna tell you how it all happened. So when I was in grade 11, I think it was grade 11. I can't remember for some reason if it was grade 11 or 12. I think it was grade 11. I was about 16, 17 years old. Aritzia was opening a location near the place that I went to high school. And it wasn't open yet, but they put up signs all over that mall saying that they're gonna be hiring. So Aritzia was opening in the mall near my high school, and they put all these signs that said they were going to be hiring, and I was so excited. Like I knew a new location would be a good opportunity for me because they'd be hiring like a bunch of people and not just, one or two one-offs. I applied online. I was so excited. So I wanted this job so bad that when I went to the job fair that they had for it and I did my interview, I left. And when I left, I made my voicemail custom to Aritzia so that if they called me and I missed the call, they would know to call me back and to make sure to call me back. So my voicemail says something like, if this is Aritzia and you're calling about the job interview, please call back. Like I can call you back. Like I was that motivated to get the job. And the interview went really well. So I was really sure they were going to call me. They asked a bunch of questions at the interview. They asked me to pitch them and sell them this TNA keychain that they had that they wanted us to all sell to them. And it went good. So I was confident that they were going to call me, and they did. So after Aritzia called me and they told me that, I got the job and this is the first day of training and all of that, I was like over the moon, ecstatic. Like this was like the best day of my life. I actually got a job that I wanted. When you're a teenager, you kind of just take any retail job you can get, but this was one that I actually wanted. Like I love the brand. When I went for my first day, we trained as a group. There was like 10 other girls that got hired. And one thing that's notable is that amongst all of us that were hired to be the first sales associates of that store, I was the only brown girl. Like every other girl was like East Asian background, like a few Korean girls, Chinese girls, Vietnamese girls, and there was one white girl, and there was me. So it was like a little bit funny that like in that whole neighborhood and all the girls I had seen that were brown girls there didn't get the job. But it is what it is. I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. It's obviously could have been because of qualification, could have not been. But it was notable that I was the only brown girl there. And I did feel a little bit like I was sticking out like a sore thumb because I was visibly different from everybody else, from the people who were management, from the sales associates, from the district managers. Like there was absolutely no brown girl representation at that time, which I will tell you was like 14 years ago. So they've come a long way, but when you walk into an Aritzia store, you'll still see that there's definitely a lack of diversity with the brand still. When it comes to who works in their stores. We did training in so many different stores and locations, and I had a good time. Like I was having a lot of fun. All the girls were new, so there was no catty behavior between us as girls because we were all new. So we were all comfortable with each other. We were sharing our experiences at the different locations. It was good amongst us girls that were new sales associates. But I will tell you a few things about Aritzia and working there from my experience that I found like so bizarre and just made me really feel weird about the brand. And one of them is the culture like between the employees. Like the workplace culture was it was very catty. Like there was not that, you know, friendship, loving vibes when you go into the store between employees. Like it was really catty, gossip situations. It was just not comfortable. Like I as a teenager felt really uncomfortable there, even amongst the adults. Like they didn't make us feel very good or very comfortable there. It was just basically us girls who were new supporting each other. So that's one thing about it. It was a very catty culture, work culture. Number two, it was very top down. Like you felt like you were small. You felt like you were at the bottom of a very long chain of people. Like it was very bureaucratic. I didn't feel like, you know, we're all family, you know, managers, district managers. Like when the district managers would come in the store, we'd be scared. Like we'd be absolutely terrified. And I know that, you know, there's a level of, you know, when the upper management comes, you're going to be a little bit nervous and you're going to be on your best behavior. But it was almost like dictatorship kind of fear. Like it was like, oh my God, they're coming. Like nobody can be themselves. Like we have to be on this like other level of behavior. It was very weird. And when I worked at the location, the one time a district manager came, she was at that time the district manager for like a whole bunch of Ontario stores. I was nervous as hell. I saw how the girls who were experienced there were nervous, how the manager was nervous. So I was nervous as hell. This district manager came and I was just doing my thing. I was folding clothes, helping customers, trying to just, you know, act like she wasn't there and just be myself, be professional. Hopefully she would like me. So when I was folding clothes and just doing my own thing, I would notice her like kind of whispering off, looking at me weird, just making me feel weird and looking at me. And I was just, you know, nervous. I was young. This was a grown woman. And I didn't know why she kept looking at me, but I had a feeling, you know, this woman's going to come up to me. So I just, you know, kept trying to keep my cool. And then she came up to me and she said, like, what are the 5 C's of Aritzia? I think it was the C's. Basically, Aritzia had like an acronym. It was like 5 C's or something. And each C meant like a different word and you had to like know what it meant. And I'm telling you, I'm like 3 weeks into working at this company and she just suddenly comes up to me and asks me this, and not like in a casual way. Like she came up to me and was like, hey, oh, you know, I know you're new here. Do you know the 5 C's? I was like, okay, like I knew it, thank goodness, but it was just it was not a way to make someone feel comfortable. You know, someone that's new to your company, you want to show them good vibes, like comfortable vibes. The first thing you say to them is like, hey, how are you? How are you liking the company? You know, how's your experience? Like none of that. It was straight up like, answer this question. Like pop quiz right there while I'm working. So, you know, I answered her to the best of my ability and she just, you know, walked away. It was not like any positive human to human interaction. It was like, you know, you're just a pawn in this company, so you better know the answer. So that was the second thing that I found so bizarre, is the the way in which the company was structured to make you feel so top down, like you're just so small as a sales associate. Number three, the third thing that really was weird about the company is, so Aritzia prides itself on, at that time, I don't know now, on not being a commission-based company. So in those days, most companies were paying commission. So a sales associate would sell, and then they'd get a percentage of each sale they close as a sales associate. But at Aritzia, it wasn't that way. It was not commission based. So no matter how much you sell, you're getting paid the same on that shift. But your sales are tracked. So you're not getting commission, but your sales are tracked. So you are supposed to sell, and you have to meet a sales target per hour, which right when we started, it doubled. And so not only do you have to meet the sales target, you're not getting commission, and the amount of hours we would get would be based on how much we're selling. So basically it was still sales pressure, but the incentive was different. So instead of the incentive being a commission of each sale we make, the incentive was we're going to get more hours if we sell more. And obviously you look better in the company if you're selling more. So your sales were 100% tracked. So there was sales pressure there. But for some reason they kept telling us that we're different. We don't have that kind of sales pressure. So it was like this mixed message that was constantly confusing you as a sales associate. Like, is there sales pressure or not? But there was, because you're not going to get hours if you don't sell. So that was another thing that I found a little bit manipulative and confusing about working there, is they weren't being transparent about what they're doing. Like, they were trying to make us think they were doing something better than other companies, but it was essentially the same. Maybe for some people that works better, but I just found it weird that was the way they were conveying a message that was not what was actually happening. Sales pressure was very much a part of the job, and you had to meet a target per hour. I know a lot of people want to know, how much do you make, do you get in discounts if you work at Aritzia? As a sales associate, it was like, I believe it was like at that time, 25 or 30%. I think it's still the same for sales associates there, and then management gets like a bit of a better discount. It's about 30%. If you know Aritzia, you know their clothing is very expensive. You were encouraged to wear their clothes to work, so their expensive clothing and 30% off, plus you're encouraged to wear their clothes. And if you're not wearing their clothes, you're like sticking out like a sore thumb, and it does impact how you're like kind of being treated if you're not really wearing on brand Aritzia clothing. So, the discount was also not enough for someone who, like, Aritzia as a brand is not priced to be affordable to retail workers. But as a retail worker, you are encouraged to wear their clothes, and then the discount is 30%, but that was just like tax and 15% off of that. So it wasn't much. It didn't really make it very affordable. So at the time, I wasn't able to buy like a lot of Aritzia clothes. So I was kind of recycling the clothing I did have. It was largely TNA at that. We'll get to the part where I was fired. So I worked there for 3 months. Just before my 3 months ended, like literally the day before it would have been 3 months, they laid me off. And in Ontario, if you get laid off from a company before your 3-month probation period, they don't actually have to legally give you a reason for why they are laying you off. So when she called me and asked me to meet her, the manager called me and asked me to meet her. I asked her, like, is there a reason? Like, I was selling really well. I was on top of my sales targets. Like, I got along with the girls that were going to be at the store. Like, what was the problem? And she said, it's before 3 months, so we don't have to give you a reason. And that just blew me away. Like, the fact that they didn't give me a reason. I know they weren't legally obligated to, but if you have a reason and you're laying me off, why would you not tell me the reason? And I told her, this could help me in another job. Very young. This is my first time getting fired. I've worked at a couple of places. And she just, said she can't give me a reason, and it is what it is. And like, that moment stuck with me. I cried after. I was devastated. I love this company. I felt like I wasn't enough. I felt like shit. And I will tell you that I was the only one of all those girls that got laid off. I was the only brown girl. I was the only one that got laid off. I couldn't help but feel or wonder if that had something to do with it. Not like, I don't think they thought, you know, she's brown, let's remove her. They hired me knowing I was a brown skinned girl. But it was the fact that I was so easily removed and discarded with no reason. And I wouldn't be surprised if that had something to do with making it easier to make that decision. But as someone who's performing well, was getting along with other girls so well, I'm to this day shocked that they actually just removed me and gave me no reason for it. Unfortunately, at that time I was a very forgiving person and I still supported the brand. But as I'm telling you this story, it's kind of like makes me upset to talk about it. It was like so hurtful. And now that I'm like coming to the end of this video, I'm like, what the heck was that? Like, why would they lay me off and then tell me they're not going to give me a reason? That was my story of how I got hired, how my experience was at Aritzia, and how it ended for me. If you have your experience at Aritzia, you can let me know in the comments. I remember during the Black Lives Matter, like the height of the movement after the unfortunate killing of George Floyd, Aritzia was really called out for the fact that they are completely lacking in diversity in their stores. A bunch of women of color who have worked there came out about their experience, and I'll be honest, I was still afraid to talk about my experience at that time. I didn't know, like, if there would be like a bad reaction to it. I wasn't confident in talking about it. No, I do see that they've tried to make some changes on their website. You'll see like a little bit more diversity. Obviously it happened because of a lot of public pressure, but it's there. Their stores are still very much lacking in that diversity that I wish they had, and that would really encourage girls like me to shop there more and to continue to support the brand. But yeah, that was my experience working at Aritzia in Ontario. Please feel free to let me know how your experiences were. Let me know your thoughts. Have you worked at anywhere like that or anything? Yeah, thank you for watching my video. Please subscribe to my channel if you like this video, and if you want to see more videos, I'm going to keep posting. I'm going to post once a week, story times, product reviews, just anything. I'm just going to post pretty much anything. So feel free to subscribe, like the video, and comment. Thank you so much for your support. And yeah.